Welcome to another Cinema 4D tutorial. This one I'm just going to show you how we can basically get this football spiral bomb animations. So basically realistic looking Hail Mary pass through the air. The ball's traveling both on a spline and it's rotating as it goes. So it's not quite as straightforward as it would look, but let's just go ahead and let's kind of start from scratch here. So I can get rid of my tags. I have a football here that is currently set to being to having a rotation. I'm going to get rid of all my keyframes so we can really start from the beginning. So there it is. My ball's sitting here, and then I've created an arc that I've scaled up. Maybe I'll make it even bigger. That will represent the arcing throw of my football. It's a perfect 180, so maybe it makes more sense to be something like that. And then just kind of rotate it slightly. Maybe later we'll animate and add on a wide receiver running and catching a football. So first things first, simple part. Let's go ahead and add a line to spline tag to our football. And we're just going to say the arc is the spline path. So nothing's going to happen, but you can definitely see if you just change the position, something is happening. So why don't we just keyframe this out. Keyframe 0 at 0%, keyframe 180 at 100%, and we will see the flight of the path. But if you click tangential on now, you will see the flight of the ball nose first. And you might have to play with your axis a little bit, just depends on how you modeled it. I've had to play around with that a little bit to get it to have the right axis, but you should be able to get that result. So that's the easy part. The next part we want to do is we're going to create an Expresso tag. So it just makes it a lot easier for messing with the rotation of this ball. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to inspect my ball here, and I'm going to see which axis is which. So if I rotate that, that's appears to be my Z-axis. If I rotate this appears to be, they're all kind of rotating on that axis, but so anyway, basically I brought up my Expresso editor, and we're going to create a new node, and what we need is basically just to create a formula where everything is happening automatically. We don't have to mess with anything. And first thing we're going to do is bring in our football. What we want to affect on the input is going to be the rotation. I might have to change these values for now. I think it's the B, but we'll just start with that. That's going to be our end node. So basically, what do we do to get to this, to get there? Well, we've got to create, first things first, a time. So essentially like a time mechanism here. This is going to basically be how we calculate over time how many rotations this ball is going to have automatically. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to just create some math here, some math to calculate this. So we'll go into the calculate, and we'll get a math node. And so there's two inputs for this. So one's going to be how we translate. I'll show you how this works in a second, but let's start with time input first. All right, and then let's start with the output to our football node. All right, nothing's happened yet, but we're going to create another node now, and this is just going to be a constant. So this is what we're essentially going to be using to control the number of rotations. So this is going to be our other input, basically into our math, and so I'm going to choose like a number like, I don't know, let's try maybe like 20 rotations, but it's coming in in radians or something. So we need, for some reason, I'm not going to get into a huge explanation of that, but basically what we need is one more node that is going to be a degree, I think, is what we're trying to do. Yeah, of course. So we're going to do degrees to radians. All right, and that's how we're going to convert these degrees to, and then now we're going to go from our constant, which our constant value, I'm going to do something like 20, 200, to our input, and then we're going to output that into our other math input. So this is the basic structure. And now if we go over here and we look, we're starting to get a rotation of our football. All right, so the one last thing I was missing is in my math function here. I'm gonna wanna multiply this and not add it so that we get a lot more fast rotation there. And now you'll notice, now we're getting our football flight path here. So I'm gonna go ahead and zero this out. I'm done with the rotation. And the only other thing we could do here is just kind of play with our keyframes, make these linear, so as it comes out of the hand. There we go. So that's our deep bomb NFL football spiral, basically. So yeah, this is a good way to do that and achieve the spiral NFL football look tossed through the air. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.